Hello and welcome to Middle Age Moto. Today I wanted to go over the 5 things that I hate about my Monster 1200S. Now, hate is a pretty strong word, so there's really nothing that I absolutely hate. There's some things that when you buy a premium bike, you would think that it would be things would be a little bit different. Some of these are nitpicky, some of these can be corrected, and I've got 1 or 2 caveats too that are not major because it falls into a category. It's not really specific to the Monster that I'll throw in at the end. And these are in no particular order. These are just my opinion. And number 1 is going to be the quick shifter. I'm not a huge quick shifter person as far as experience. I've clutched, and you'll notice that I clutch most of the time when I'm riding as it is. But I find that if you're not under hard acceleration, the quick shifter is very temperamental. If you leave your foot on the quick shifter too long or something of that nature, it's, of course, is cutting the engine power for that split second, and it will just cut the power and you will jerk forward. It's not something that happens on a regular basis, but it happens. Under hard acceleration, you bang through, it's fantastic. But the thing is, you've got to really, normal shifting with this bike, you've got to really make sure you're going into gear so that you don't grab a false neutral. It's got a fair amount of travel. When you're using the quick shifter, if you really stay on that shifter, it makes it very herky and jerky, so you kind of just tap it. But yet, what that'll do sometimes is that'll leave you susceptible to a false neutral between 4th and 5th. Another rare occasion, but it does happen. There's other bikes out there that do the same thing. Another thing is, or number 2, is going to be the grip on the left side. When the grip is on correctly and pushed all the way up, there's a big space between the bar end and the grip. And when I first got the bike, I thought it was just something was wrong. And then I researched it, and that's how all of them look. I just think that it looks unfinished. There's ways around that. Some guys have put black tape, different bar ends, a rubber grommet. There's a million things, but it's still something that I dislike because I'm buying a premium bike, you know. So some of these are because of the fact that, you know, you're spending, you know, before tax and everything, $17,400 on a bike. That fit and finish should really be taken care of. Number 3, the mirrors. They tend to work themselves loose. Now, granted, it's a Ducati, it's an L twin, it does vibrate. That's part of the characteristics that may even fall into my top 5 things that I like. But the mirrors, they gradually work themselves loose, and then they work themselves back. So the mirrors already, you're looking at a lot of shoulder. You have very limited visibility. Shockingly, they don't vibrate a ton, but it's still, you know, something that's annoying, and you got to keep adjusting, because, you know, I get used to where my mirrors are, and I glance down, and all of a sudden I'm looking at my chest. So I keep cranking them down. Number 4, the paint. The paint is super soft. It scratches very easily. I got one of those, I'm drawing a total blank here, the plastic VisiShields, for lack of a better word. I'll put a link to the company I went to. There's a company that actually, it's more expensive than cutting your own, but I bought a sheet of the stuff just off of eBay or Amazon, and I tried to cut it out and put it on, and it just looked like it looked horrible. It looked like I was wrapping a Christmas gift, which I'm horrible at. So I bought the shield, and now granted, if it's your first time here, I've got a gut. I'm 260 pounds. I'm actually 258 because I dropped a couple pounds. But, you know, the tank scratches so easily. Now, I've got, you know, a background with high performance cars and stuff like that. So I've done a lot of, not body work, but paint reconditioning and buffing and all that. You touch it wrong and it absolutely scratches. Number 5 is fixable, and I did fix it, and I did a whole video on it actually. There's a tremendous amount of slop in the throttle when you get this bike, and you kind of just live with it. If you're like me, I lived with it for 6 months, and then I finally got the spacers, and I've got a whole video which I'll either, if I can figure out how, I'll link it up top. If not, I'll put it in the description or at the end of the video so you guys can get to it. It's on my page, and it's on my channel, and my channel is very small still, but the throttle was a real pain in the butt. One that doesn't really fall in, I mean, because other bikes, a lot of the European bikes, this falls, but this is just a caveat on top of everything, is the price of upgraded exhaust. Not that the exhaust, as far as standard cans, the bike sounds pretty darn good in my eyes. It pops, it does its thing, but I want it a little bit louder. And you know, of course, with all the new electronics, you got to get, you know, a flash. There are a few exhausts that I found out there that have a catalytic converter in them that you can get, you know, with the link pipe and all that for somewhere around $1,000. But the exhaust that Ducati recommends is the Termi exhaust, and it's like the cheap, just a slip-on is like $2,000, and that was sticker shock for me. Maybe call me cheap, call me old school. You know, a lot of people that I've said that to say, well, you bought a premium bike, you need to, you know, part with the premium cash. If you know, if it's like the guys that buy the Ferrari but can't afford to maintain it. Well, that's not the case. It's just I can't justify $2,000 is an atrocious amount of money for an exhaust. You know, I'm looking at my reward based on what I'm spending. There's a lot of other things that, you know, $2,000 is, you know, I'm going to be doing a video on my second bike, and I'm all over the map, but one of them in that category was the CRF 250L, which is, I mean, the MSRP is $5,400. That $2,000 is like, I'll put that down on the bike, and, you know, if I can get special financing on it and have a tiny payment and keep the wife happy. I just can't justify it. Stay tuned. I did this kind of backwards, and I'm gonna do another video on, you know, the 5 things that I love about it. There's a lot more that I love than I hate, and to be honest with you, this morning it took me a little bit of time to come up with 5 things. Some of them are kind of nitpicky and can be corrected. Most of them. And another thing, just, you know, the elephant in the room, I have not yet got my gas gauge fixed, and I'm kind of disappointed in my dealer. I'm not going to put him on blast. Well, it's only going out to 5 subscribers, but starting to get some views, so that's kind of cool. But, you know, I contacted my dealer and the service department, and you get a recording now, and you can't actually physically talk to somebody. And basically what the recording's saying is they're backlogged. If you want to do a service appointment, you know, do it online. And it'll take 24 to 48 hours, and we'll get back to you and make sure that, you know, we get your appointment, which is kind of disappointing. So I emailed my sales consultant and said, hey, you guys real backlogged. My fuel gauge went on my Monster and I need to get it in. And his response was, no, they're not busy at all back there. You need to just bring it in. But I'm coming an hour and a half away, you know, I currently don't have a trailer, and I've got a Tacoma truck, so I don't want to try to load the bike up into the back of the truck, especially myself. Maybe a lighter bike I would, but I sent that email last Friday, and it's now the following Friday, and it's the 3rd, and I've not got a response. It's just kind of really disappointing. And you know, once I get into the service department, they're phenomenal. They get the work done fast. Although the last time I had an issue with one of the fit and finish on one of the lower panels on the oil cooler, just it wasn't fitting right to my liking. I told them about it and they never even touched it. But I noticed when I got home. But it's just kind of disheartening. You know, service after the sale is super important to me, and unfortunately this dealer is a mixture. It's a Ducati, BMW, Indian, and Yamaha, and then Polaris and some other off-road brands. And it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating that when you go to the store, there's no, maybe, you know, my mother always taught me that expectations lead to resentments, and that was pretty profound, and it's stuck with me my whole life. She said it when I was very young, as I was a very impatient kid and expected a lot out of myself and a lot out of others, and I resented a lot of people because of it. But I expected buying a premium bike to get premium service, and that's just not the case. I think I mentioned before in one of my other videos that, you know, I go to my local Honda dealership and get my tires put on this. One, because of the price. I'm saving, you know, a ton. I don't have to drive an hour and a half. And my dealer, other than Saturdays, you have to make an appointment to drop your bike off. There's no, you know, if you have the prepaid, you know, plan where you pay, you know, the $1,500–1,800, whatever it is, for prepay for your servicing, the turnaround's 24 hours. If not, you know, could be a week. And I understand they're limited, you know, staff, and they got a lot of bikes coming in and out of there, and a lot of services on certain brands. But I just, I don't know how I got on this rant on a 5 things video, but that's it. And I just want to thank you again for spending some time with me this morning. And if you like something you heard, or have some time, check out some of my other videos, and please comment, like, and subscribe. And would love to have you ride along with me for the journey of this channel as it grows, and it'll grow, and I'm kind of excited, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of my ride and shut up for a bit. So thank you, and have a wonderful day.